So hello and welcome back to TNTV, where we have something really special lined up for you today. So listen up. If you're sort of in a relationship where you have no chance that you're ever going to leave this relationship, no determination, but actually it's not working and you'd love it to be better.
Yes, so hello there, and if this is the first time you've ever seen us on video, I'm Nikki V and this is my amazing husband Tony V, and we're known mostly in the media as the relationship couple. And yes, as Tony said, this is for you if you're at that kind of point. Well, we were at a speaking gig the other day, weren't we? Tony was actually speaking about the secret to life, which was absolutely amazing. And we had a stand, and we had a flip chart up, and we literally, Tony said to me, put a question on it so that when people come round towards our stand, they'll read it and answer that question. And we put this question on. Might be a great question for you to answer yourself today. What's critical to resolve right now, today? And what percentage, Tony?
Well, I was actually amazed at the numbers of people that came to our stand that we then asked this question to, and actually their relationship was the thing that was giving them their biggest problem, challenge, whatever it is.
That's right.
You want to call it. And it was like the 80-20 rule, if you've ever heard of that. It seemed like 80% of the people that came up, their thing that was critical for them to resolve was a relationship issue. The others were primarily money, and I had one person with a bit of health issue.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as Tony said, these are, maybe this is where you are. You're kind of in a relationship. You haven't got to the point of like, I'm going to leave this relationship, or, your partner's talking about leaving the relationship. You're at that point where you just kind of, oh God, we always seem to be disconnected. We always seem to be arguing. And, I've got kind of like my strategy, which is to try and talk to him about it. And he's got the other strategy, which is to move away from. So, that's what men and women do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the giving up. Like you've given up, but you're still in it and no intentions of really doing anything about it, primarily because you think it's hopeless and you think they're never going to change because you've seen it for all too long. So if that's you,
yes,
if that's you, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to give you something which maybe opens your eyes to what you could do no matter how long you've been disconnected. So it really stems from telling you another story, ultimately, where we were at an event where the very next day we've got to get on a plane and fly off. And so we're on a very strict schedule, and we've got like 5 minutes left, and everybody that's wanted to talk to us has talked to us, and we've just got our bags ready and we're rolling and ready to get in the car. And this woman came running up to us and said, "Oh, are you Tony and Nikki V? Oh, please, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?" And I remember in those days I sort of wore a watch on this hand, and I looked at my watch and said, "Well, it's going to have to be quick, because we've got to go like now. So, tell me quickly." And she said, "Oh, it's my husband, it's my husband." I said, "What's the problem?" So she said, "Look, every night he goes to the pub, and I hate it. Every night he comes home, either I've already gone to bed or like I'm fed up. He comes in smelling a drink. It's horrible. Then sometimes he wants to have sex with me and I don't want to do that. And it's all horrible. What can I do?" And I'm gone, okay, so this is going to be the fastest coaching session ever. So let me just ask you a question. Have you ever told him you don't like what he's doing? And she's gone, yes, I tell him all the time. I tell him every day, I tell him every night how much I hate it. And I said, okay, so here is your starter for 10, as they say on University Challenge.
Yes.
Here's your starter for 10. So all you got to do, now here's our email address. I want you to tell me that you will do this for 30 days and then send me an email and tell me how you got on. Because all I want you to do is this, okay? It's your fastest coaching session ever. Stop telling him. Just stop telling him that you don't like it. Stop telling him you hate it.
She looked really shocked, didn't she?
She was shocked,
she looked really
yes,
shocked.
because she's expecting me to give some tip about what she's going to tell him that's going to stop him doing it. But of course, if
we quickly explained, didn't we?
Yes.
We quickly explained that, look, here's what happens. And one of the things I find really interesting is that a lot of people think that men and women are the same.
Yes.
They think that actually we respond the same to things and we want the same things. Absolute no. So what was happening is she was doing the very thing that men absolutely hate, which is to be told what to do. They don't even like, I mean, I've got a 5-year-old grandson who hates being told what to do. It's like it starts right from the beginning.
Well, I think the truth is nobody likes, I mean,
No.
when we're at a bit of a talk, I often go, who here, likes being wrong?
Yeah.
Well, to this day, no one's ever put their hand up. One woman sort of went a bit like that. And then, my other question is, who here likes being told what to do? And nobody ever puts their hand up for that either. So look, telling that people what to do is about as much useful
right.
as them telling you what to do because you don't like it either. Because really, it's like a control thing, isn't it?
That's
If
right.
you think about it, nobody likes to be controlled by the other person. So
Yeah, and because this is what we're hallucinating, because we didn't actually meet the guy. Although we
No.
did hear afterwards that things, because of this kind of very quick coaching session, things became very, very different. So I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. But what actually we noticed and we hallucinated that the guy was doing is that he is actually moving massively away from her, not probably speaking to her at all. But then when he does speak to her, he's basically telling her what to do.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
he's telling her, stop telling me
Telling
what
me
to
to do,
do.
absolutely.
So again, of course, that is none of this is ever going to work. It's never going to bring you back into connection, because you're just doing the thing that, as Tony said, both men and women hate.
Yeah, really, and as we always say, it takes two to tango. So, in our first video in this series, I know we called it the blame game. So if you haven't seen that, get to that button where it
Yes.
says weekly videos or whatever it is, and watch the very first one. It's all about blame and how that doesn't work. But anyway, so what was incredible about this woman is she promised faithfully to do her best. Because, you know what, it's probably a lifelong habit
Yep.
to keep telling him, nagging him, giving him helpful suggestions, all of that stuff that, she didn't realise is actually what's making him go to the pub every night. And he probably doesn't realise it either, because a lot of this behaviour is completely unconscious.
Yeah, because he's doing something different. He's moving away from her, and he's thinking that by moving away from her, she's going to stop doing her behaviour. When
Yeah.
actually, here's the big thing for guys, is to move towards her
Absolutely.
when she does that. Now, we're not condoning her telling him what to do. We're just saying that what we say to guys is, here's the big thing, move towards her. And like what you always say, I love it, when you say, listen but don't hear.
Yeah.
So like kind of listen to her, don't like ignore her, but listen to her, but don't hear what she's saying, just move towards her. And of course, what was fabulous about this woman is all we did literally was say, stop doing it. And we didn't even really get into detail about
couldn't
what to
qualify
do.
it. We didn't have time. We didn't have
say.
time. No.
But what she did in the absence of telling him was so much better. So what she did when he came home was that she didn't tell him off, as it were. So she probably just, we're guessing, well, she may not have been lovely, which of course would be a great thing, which would say, great, you're home, how fabulous, I love it when you come home.
Yeah.
She may have just said nothing, which, how much better is that for him?
Yeah.
And here's what happened.
Yeah, so
It
like
was amazing.
a few weeks later, we get an email from this woman going, I don't know what's happened. It's like, I don't really understand it, but it's a bit like magic, really, because I really don't understand it. But he's not going to the pub so much, and when he does, he comes home earlier. Yeah,
Amazing.
and we just seem to be in better
Incredible.
connection. And all I've done is what you told me to do, which is to stop telling him. So.
Yeah, and actually that's really interesting, because we didn't actually get to talk to him at all. But just because she stopped telling him and did nothing maybe, he started wanting to be with her more.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we're not condoning either of the behaviour that they were doing before, but we're just saying, look, that's how simple it could be to get you from wherever you are now in your relationship to where we know you want to be.
And if you know us well and you've watched our stuff, we don't do top tips, because
No.
top tips generally doesn't work. But look, this is in some ways, because it's a one-off thing you can, try on.
Yes.
Yeah. Then it sort of feels to me sometimes like this is a top tip.
Right.
But actually, you have to play full out. So your promise to us has to be that, like her, we put a sort of condition on it working, which is you've got to stop telling for 30 days, okay, or a month, whichever it is. It depends. If it's February, you've got 3 less days to work it out. If
That's
it's a
right.
leap year, 2 less otherwise. Yeah.
And for the guys,
Yeah.
if you're telling her what to do, same, stop it.
Yeah, yeah,
But if
absolutely.
you're moving away from her, the best thing to do would be to start moving towards her and notice how magical that can be too.
It is, yeah. And what moving towards a woman looks like when she's having an emotional outburst, so this is an addition you can add on for men, is to actually just give her a hug. Just give her a hug
Yes.
and maybe give her a kiss. If you're not hugging and kissing regularly, then actually your connection will fade and that spark dies like a spark plug in a car. It eventually stops working and you have to get a new one. Well, in a relationship, you know, a hug is like a renewal of the wedding vows if you're married, or the first hug and kiss you ever had, you know. So go back to those memories.
Works
So
every time with me.
it
doesn't
does, it's fantastic, and it's because it changes the woman's inner world of her chemistry.
And every
from-
time I stop telling you what to do,
It's
he
amazing.
does amazing things.
It is amazing. It is
You know,
amazing.
and even we're very honest. If you don't know us at all, we're very honest. We always tell you, you know, we also do it sometimes. It's human nature. Here's what, you know, what's great. We now know, you now know, and we now know how to do it differently.
We know what works, yeah? So there's no excuse. Once you know what works, there's no reason for you to not be trying it on and seeing if it works for you. So don't
Great.
forget, it's beginning of whatever month it is now, just in a month's time, be emailing us, letting us know
Yes.
how you got on by stopping telling. And if you're a guy, stopping telling, but also moving forward and giving her a big hug and maybe a nice kiss as well. And see how well that works. See how much that spark starts to flash off again and you get more connected. So that's it for this
Yes,
week, yeah?
it is.
Next week we've got something even more special, if that's possible. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure we'll think of something. So you know what it's like on TNTV. We like having a bit of fun, and you know whatever happens in our week, whoever writes to us, you know, write to us. We tend to want to cover that. So we don't have an agenda.
Let us
All
know
we
what
know
you want to talk
is
about.
it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week. So from me, Tony V, and the incredible Nikki V. We'll see you next
Bye-bye.
week. Bye for now.